Now for a little snippet from when I was about your age and a little bit older as well. When I was about your age, Freya, I lived with my parents and my older brother in a house in Leeds, which is a town in Yorkshire, or a city in Yorkshire. And next door to us, there were a lovely couple called Mr. and Mrs. Mothorpe, but we called them Uncle Charlie and Auntie Hilda. And they were so kind, they were lovely. But every morning when I sat at the breakfast table in our back room, looked out of the window, if it was decent weather, Uncle Charlie would come out into his back garden and he would have an ordinary sweeping brush with him because he was sweeping leaves away or whatever he was doing. And he used to turn the sweeping brush upside down so the brush was at the top and the handle down the bottom, sort of like this, only it was a different sort of brush because it came out like that on either side. So it was quite hard to balance. He used to walk around the garden with this that way up. But what he did, just to make me laugh and have a bit of fun in the morning, was he would put it on top of his head and walk around the garden balancing this brush on top of his head. And I used to laugh every time because he looked so funny. Because it was much longer than this as well. It was like an ordinary brush for sweeping leaves and things. I used to go, our two back gardens were next to each other, and somebody had made a little gate so we could go outside the back door, along the path in front of the back windows, through the gate, and next door into Uncle Charlie and Auntie Hilda's garden. And I used to do that a lot because they were so lovely. And I used to help Uncle Charlie look after his bantam chickens, which are sort of small hens, and they lay small eggs, like hen's eggs, but smaller. And I used to help him with those, which was fun. And I used to help him. He grew all sorts of things in his greenhouse, tomatoes and all sorts of things, and he grew vegetables and fruit and all sorts in the back garden as well. He was lovely. And I used to go in next door to their house sometimes with Auntie, and talk to Auntie Hilda. Now, she was lovely too. And she used to do her washing, the household washing, everything for her and Uncle Charlie, in her kitchen. And she had a big tub, sort of, I don't know, that wide and as tall as you are, Freya, as tall as you are now. And that was made out of zinc or something, I think. And she'd put all the water in there, and then she would have what she called a dolly, which was like a wooden stick with some legs coming off it. And she'd go like this with the wooden stick, and that would turn the washing round and backwards and round and backwards and round. Now, she didn't have a spin dryer. She didn't have a washing machine. This is why she did her washing like this. What she did have was a washboard, which is a board sort of wide like that and down like that. And it's got ridges on it, and you put the clothes against the board, and then you can scrub them against the hard surface. So if there's any stains or anything on, you can get the soap and really have a good scrub at them, and then put them in the wash tub. And she had a hand wringer that fitted by the side of the wash tub, and she would load that was like two bars, like rolling pins, but fixed next to each other, and you wound a handle, and they went round in, like, one would go that way and the other would go that way, so that they took the clothes through and squeezed them between the two rolling pin type round bits of wood. And then they'd fall the other side into her basket, and she'd take them out to peg up outside in the garden, in the washing line. And I used to love watching her do this, and I used to help her when I could. She was really, really kind. Now, my mother started teaching while I was still very young, and she was teaching part-time, but sometimes she was away through lunchtime and I was at home for one reason or another. And if I was at home, I would be invited round to be with Auntie Hilda and Uncle Charlie while my mother wasn't there and nobody else was there. And Auntie Hilda used to make me her special dinner for me, which was a bowl, Pyrex bowl that you could see it through, and she'd mash some potatoes. Well, she'd cook potatoes and then mash them up and put them in the bowl, and she'd cook some sausages and stick them in the bowl down so they were sticking up like fingers out of the mashed potato. And then she'd heat up some tomato soup from a tin. She'd pour that on. Oh, I loved it. I thought that was the best dinner, the best dinner anybody could make. I don't think she really liked cooking, but she used to make that specially for me, and it was lovely. Her Yorkshire puddings were flat and stodgy, but she was absolutely lovable. And that's my snippet for today. Okay, about Uncle Charlie and Auntie Hilda, and what lovely people they were.